Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 19th of December, and other than the fact that my name's Philip Kingston, this is the last episode of GPTV for 2023.
Not forever, of course, unless something terrible happens to us over the break, Phil. We're going to be back in February when everything starts off.
Yep.
But until then, we're just going to have to
What week
go
of
through the
February
old
are you planning on bringing the show back, Gary?
I reckon maybe second week of February.
Second week in
maybe around the 12th of February.
Second Tuesday, maybe the third Tuesday. We'll have a look at the calendar.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the viewers are going to do, Gary, over summer, because a lot of viewers, this is the highlight of their week.
It is.
And it gives them something. It comes out on Tuesday, gives them something to talk about for the rest of the week.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of cafes, Gary, with a lot of people sitting there just looking at each other.
Stony-faced and disappointed, Philip.
They're just looking at each other. You'll be able to go into cafes in our target areas where there'll just be silence.
Yep,
but the people will still be there because the food has to be eaten and the coffee has to be drunk.
Just the sound of food preparation, Philip.
Correct,
The coffee machine,
correct.
a little bit of cluttering of cutlery, a few plate movement. That's about it.
Because we do know that the greatest topic of conversation in the suburbs of Australia is what's going on in the property market, which is a bit of a segue, Gary. Thank you for preparing this document for me, which I had no forward warning.
No.
But a little bit of trivia, viewers. What is the most expensive suburb in Melbourne? Now, it's a bit of a trick question, Gary, because how do you rate? Is it dollars per square metre? Is it dollars per building metres?
Median, have to be median.
How does one measure? So it'd have to be land dollars per square metre,
maybe
wouldn't
it
it?
could be, yeah.
Okay.
How about that?
What's the number one suburb? What's the most expensive suburb in Melbourne when we talk about dollars per square metre? Not the highest priced homes, but dollars per square metre.
Tell me you've got the answer.
Okay,
there.
I've got the answer. Albert Park. Congratulations, Albert Park. You come in as the most expensive suburb with an average selling price of $14,016 per square metre. While we're on there, what's the least expensive suburb in Melbourne? In Gary? What's the least expensive suburb in Melbourne?
You tell us, Philip.
Mount Evelyn. Congratulations to Mount Evelyn.
Good value there.
If you're a resident of Mount Evelyn, Gary,
it's
get
all
ready
upside.
for the stampede, because when we announce these things on the show,
People go
there
crazy.
could be here's a difference though. Albert Park at 14,000 a metre. Well, Mount Evelyn comes in at a very affordable $778 per square metre. Bit of trivia, because I was out in Belgrave recently.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I had no
What were you
reason.
doing there?
I went to Belgrave because I helped my uncle sell a farm out that way.
Okay.
Anyway, I hadn't been to Belgrave. I was driving through Belgrave and I'm thinking, wow, this is really lovely. Anyway.
What uncle do you have? The father?
Uncle Philip.
That Uncle Philip. Okay. It's
So
not your uncle, it's your wife's uncle.
I call him my uncle. I own him.
Does he like to be
701 square metres. So that is incredibly affordable and very beautiful in Belgrave. In fact, viewers, over summer, I suggest you take a drive to Belgrave.
Well, there's good cinema there, isn't there?
Beautiful.
There's Eddie and Lindy who have got the cinema in Lido, and they've also got, of course, the Ritz Randwick and the Classic. They've got the one in Cameo, Belgrave.
Yeah, all of that.
Nice rooftop.
Gary, Belgrave is a beautiful suburb. Go and have a look at it, because it's the second least expensive suburb in Melbourne.
Second least expensive.
Well, Mount Evelyn is the least expensive. This is the second least expensive.
And it's a nice suburb. You get some value.
That's
in
what I'm
Belgrave.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's only an hour from the city.
I tell you what's interesting is the second most expensive per square. I had a little look there.
Look then.
The second most expensive per square metre. You'd think. Well, you'd probably think it'd be Toorak, or maybe it'd be Camberwell.
Second
one of those
most
traditional,
expensive,
in Victoria. But lo and behold, Philip, if I'm not wrong with that little glance I had, it's Fitzroy.
Fitzroy.
Is that right?
Fitzroy.
All those,
Look,
what? It's expensive to be a hipster, Phil.
11. Look, let's be clear.
Yeah.
To all the pretentious hipsters that are in Fitzroy, all of them, right?
All want to do the grunge thing,
all of these left-leaning, pretentious hipsters, right?
Yep.
No political comment there, but it's just
that was pretty.
I
reckon it was pretty political.
Here is Fitzroy, left-leaning Fitzroy, with all the hipsters. They're living in the second most expensive land dollars per square metre.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
Yes. For those that go over there,
how that gels.
Yeah. For those that go over there feeling that they're going to be roughing it, let me tell you, you are the ones envied.
Correct.
Because you're living it up there in a very, very expensive part of Melbourne. So all those smashed avocados and fabulous coffees there, Phil, they don't come for free. I can tell you now.
Gary, it's all happening over in Fitzroy.
Also, fastest selling suburb in Melbourne. Also an interesting one, Phil. You would have
Who would have thought the fastest selling suburb in Melbourne is Watsonia North?
No, I don't think it is. It
is.
I think fastest selling.
Fastest suburbs with the quickest sale. Watsonia. Watsonia North. Look, I've got to tell you, I love the way they've been specific at calling it Watsonia North, not Watsonia South or Watsonia. It's Watsonia North. And the question is, where is Watsonia?
Well, it's south of Watsonia North. Simple, quite easy to work out. But the other one that was interesting is that the highest clearance rate is Oakley.
Yeah, Oakley South.
Oakley South, not Oakley. Oakley South, Phil. So between Watsonia North and Oakley South, there's lots of stuff going on.
And the fifth quickest selling suburb in Melbourne, just to throw you, have you ever heard of Blind Bite?
Oh, Blind Bite. I tell you, they move fast, those houses in Blind Bite. All 6 of them or however many there are. I've never heard of Blind. Can someone tell us where Blind... If anybody watching, I have actually never heard of
Blind Bite.
Blind Bite is the quickest sale.
Suburbs with the highest clearance rates. Oakley came in at number 1, but interestingly that Dingley Village came in at number 3. So I know Dingley Village because they've got one of the best putt-putt mini golf putt.
I know that one too on the corner there as well.
Incredible.
It's been hours of fun there.
So I'm not surprised that Dingley Village goes off because
all the putt putters they're waiting for something to come up. As soon as it comes online, that's it. They've got their little putter and they're running straight away. Of course. And Oakley, of course, number 1. Yeah. So there you go.
Traditionally, there we are. Of course, some ridiculous trivia and some ridiculous banter to get you into the last episode of GPTV for 2023.
And of course, traditionally, Philip, Oakley, a very Greek area. Oakley South. So people.
It's a melting pot, though.
Well,
now.
it is.
It used to be the epicenter of the Greek population.
That's right. You'd walk in.
Still is.
You'd walk in there. You'd be Yasso, Tikanes, Kala. It'd all be happening. And now it's there's lots of different accents, Philip. Lots of people from everywhere.
The hipsters are moving in from Fitzroy.
Well, they can't afford Fitzroy. It's just too expensive. Isn't it?
Correct.
Anyway, that's what's going on. Phil, let's talk a bit about what's going on in the market because our last little
opportunity for a boast.
It is an opportunity for boast, Phil, and there's some boast music for the last time and a big, loud boast music with the industry average at 59%. And Gary Pure Associates coming in at 80%. Play that, roar that music, drown me out with that music.
20 from 25, Gary. No, it wasn't. It was 15 from 20. It was.
Whatever it was.
I can't even think, Gary.
Does it matter?
You make some interactive.
You go and look at the facts and I'll babble.
20 out of 25.
That's 80%.
That's 80%.
You never got that at school, did you? You never got 70 or 60% either, did you? Let's face it, neither did I.
80%, that's pretty good. So shout out to the team, shout out to the vendors that sold and the buyers that bought, and to the 5 vendors that didn't sell. We are on it's our mission to get you sold up before Santa comes down the chimney with a ho, ho, ho. Although that's probably politically incorrect to think that Santa would come down the chimney with a ho.
Well, ho, ho, ho is what he said, Philip. It's not what was he? It was accompanied. It wasn't
with. It wasn't a demand.
No. Exactly right. It wasn't a demand. It wasn't a request or a demand.
I do apologise. It was just a silly, pathetic kind of granddad joke.
You know what? It's okay. We understand. For the kids watching, ho, 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 it's Santa.
Yeah. So our sub-30 cameraman who has he's probably got no idea what we're talking about because the only reason he's got a slight smile on his face is because we've called him out. Dom, just because you've been promoted doesn't mean you don't have to suck up to the client.
And Phil, Christmas, I always love Christmas, but because it's a fun, happy, festive time. It's not what it used to be. In Stonington, there's no Christmas in Stonington.
How about this?
So Stonington, no, it's merry. It's
merry season or
merry
something.
Season. What was it, Dom? Do you remember?
Make merry.
Make merry. Oh, that's like a demand, isn't it? It's like you can't. It's like not like Merry Christmas, George. You want it's make merry. You have to make. And by the way, it's Merry M-E-R-R-Y, not M-A-R-Y, because that could be very different.
I've got to tell you, and I know that all of our Fitzroy watchers are watching after we've had a crack with you.
They hate us today.
Well, they're going to hate us even more because yes, we're middle-aged white Australians. But I've got to tell you, the world's gone crazy. If Stonington Council think that their idea of politically correctness is to cancel Christmas.
I don't know any person or religion or anyone that would not enjoy the celebration of. I don't know how it could be offensive to anybody.
You know
really,
what?
it doesn't matter what your
if you
faith
think,
is.
If you think about it,
Yeah.
there is just about every minority
Yep.
that lives in Australia,
Yeah.
comes to Australia, recognises that we're a great place to live,
Yeah.
recognises that the dominant religion
Yeah.
used to be and probably still is Christianity.
Yeah, of
and
course.
even if it's not the dominant religion.
Well, it's the Christian Judeo values, Philip.
Well,
That's
just
right.
have some fun. Like,
Yeah. Lighten up.
if you're offended by
Christmas,
Christmas, and you're living in Australia where you chose to come to live,
Yep.
then I'm not offended by. I'm not a Christian. I'm not offended by Christmas. I'm not offended by a Christmas tree.
Yeah, right.
I'm not offended
By
by
Goodwill
a fat red suited bloke with a beard
Bouncing you on his lap.
bouncing me on my. I still love being bounced. I still love bouncing on the knee of the guy at Melbourne Central. He thinks it's a bit
I
weird.
think we've gone a bit far now. I think we'll stay away.
Look, it's
no,
true.
I don't want to hear about the guy.
I've been thrown out of Melbourne Central
Yeah, exactly
for that
right.
exact reason.
Well, I mean,
But
when the kids were little, they were like, "Dad, can we just get a turn?" You know,
Yeah.
Can you just get off his knee and give us a turn. But he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. Anyway, we're getting very inappropriate and very off. But it is the end of the year, and we are celebrating, and it's a
running on
celebratory
empty.
time.
We're
We're running on
running on
empty, and you know, it's not a politically correct show anyway.
And by the way, this is my one last thing I'm going to say on this issue.
Should you?
Politically correctness.
I don't know.
No.
I don't like what's coming. I don't even know what it is.
Before you cancel somebody
Yep.
that you've never met, right? Because this is the way it goes.
I know.
Oh, I'm outraged. I'm outraged by what that person said, right? I'm going to get on social media and I'm going to bag them. I'm going to tell people about this person. Before you cancel somebody, meet them.
Yes.
Have a conversation with them.
Yes.
Have a coffee. You'll probably find that you've got some common ground.
Yeah, and after that, you can go ahead and cancel them if you want to. Anyway, people are
It's
very...
true though,
people,
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's true though. How many people hate somebody until they meet them and they walk away going, you know what?
Yeah, not a bad guy.
Nice person.
Not a bad person. Not a bad person. You know what, Philip? It's a world and it's a time of just people getting offended. People look to get offended and almost want to get offended. And I'm sure what I'm saying is offending someone right now. But anyway, I don't get offended. You don't get offended so easily, do you?
Not anymore.
I don't really get
I used
offended.
to.
Just let it wash over me now.
I used to, but now I just go, look, it's interesting. I've become this believer in meeting people that you think you don't like, right, in person.
Yes.
It's interesting. I went into the bookstore.
Yes.
I'm going to be a little bit political now. There's much about Tanya Plibersek, the minister. I don't know what she's the minister for
she's
now.
Labor minister,
But there's much about her that I think I don't like.
She could be a future Prime Minister.
Well, she could be.
Yep.
So I thought, you know what? Rather than me saying I don't like her,
Yeah.
I'm going to read her book. So I went to Jeffrey's, Glenferrie Road, thriving bookstore, and there's a biography of Tanya Plibersek, and I thought I'm going to read this over summer,
and just
so I can at least understand the person.
And then you'll work out why it is that you don't like her.
Well, I might not. I might like her after the end of the book. But this is my point, though, and this is the Goodwill edition.
Yeah.
Let's call this the Goodwill
edition.
The Goodwill edition says this: before I publicly say anything negative about somebody.
Why would you need to publicly say anything?
Gary, we're all guilty of it. Even you are guilty of it. Before I publicly, and publicly can be just round the table, right?
Okay.
Doesn't have to be, broadcasting at an auction. But before I publicly say I don't like somebody, I'm going to endeavour to learn something about them, or at least meet them in person, so I can look them in the eye and see where they're coming from.
Well, it's better to like people, Philip. It's a Goodwill edition, and my instant reaction is to like everybody until proven otherwise.
Yes.
And that's sort of it's boded well for me for my life, Philip, because I'm a happy, positive person.
You are, on balance.
Yeah, on balance until I go to those really dark places,
Correct.
and stay there for ages, and you have to come over and talk me off the
Anything,
shelf and
we
off
call
the balcony.
this the Goodwill edition, but it's still a real estate show. So is there anything to talk about?
No, there is. There's some sales to talk about, and there's some predictions. We promised the viewers of this show that we would have some predictions for next year, Philip.
Right.
So we'll make our predictions, but first let's talk a bit about the weekend. Well, Phil, let's talk about some of the auctions we had. One of the auctions that you had was you graced the fair shores of Brighton.
Yes.
And we've been to Brighton many times, particularly recently. We just sold a property. Jan Dawson just sold a property in Bay. Was it Bay Street?
What a great sale. Can I talk about that sale very briefly?
Without talking about the price. I don't know if it's disclosed.
So it's a really good property. Really good property.
Yes, it is.
So I'm not surprised it's sold, and it's sold for the right price.
Yes.
But at the auction, which was a twilight auction, there was one family there.
Yep.
Right? Now, you might think one family and 50 others.
Yep.
No, there was one family.
Of 50
a
people?
family of 6 people.
Okay,
right?
that's good.
And that was it.
Okay, it can happen.
No one else. It was bizarre.
Yeah, okay.
So I thought, well, and Jan said, look, they are semi-interested.
Okay.
So I conducted an auction with the full spiel, with my genuine enthusiasm and passion.
You bring the party to town.
And I gave them that spiel.
Yep.
And called for the bidding, and of course they did nothing.
Yep.
But they did buy it 3 days later.
There you go. So
and
thank you.
It was kind of hilarious.
I think they might have done it out of guilt because they thought he's gone to all this trouble. He's made a whole show,
Just for us.
and then for us.
Yeah. So we've
how
got
can
to
we walk
buy
away?
it. $3 million plus sale, by the way.
We've got to buy it because this guy,
he's so
and
tragic.
it's Christmas, we've got to do it.
Yeah, and if it had been the city of Stonington, that would never have happened because they would have
definitely
said,
not.
good cheer over, good cheer over here.
No, make merry, but don't necessarily have the same amount of merry as others. Anyway, Phil, let's move on. We were back in Brighton because we auctioned, a new auction for a lovely lady. She's actually an actress, Philip.
Yes.
Quite a well-known actress,
Yes,
isn't she? Been on Underbelly and a few other shows.
And I say this in the nicest possible way.
Yes.
Because it's not me being sexist, it's not being
Sleazy?
misogynist.
Or sleazy or guttering?
I don't have
Guttural?
high cheekbones.
No, you don't.
And you don't have high cheekbones.
No, I don't.
But the definition of beauty is really these high elongated, pronounced cheekbones.
Yes.
And she
Some
had
people are blessed, aren't they,
She had
Phil?
all of those. I mean, this woman is genetically blessed, so beautiful, but so lovely and so intelligent, and she's the complete package, and it was a pleasure working for you.
And thank you for letting us sell for you. And we sold 2 at 21 Dorset Avenue, Brighton for $875,000. So she's off and on her way, Philip.
Yep.
And we'll be gracing a screen somewhere near
And I'm
you.
interested in what I've just said then. If that's offended anybody, are we not able to, recognise
you've said to me,
aesthetic beauty, whether it's a man or a woman or a they? Is it unreasonable to express delight at beauty?
Well, I said to you one day, someone walked in the office, I said, doesn't she look fantastic today? Can I tell her? And you go, oh no.
No,
You can't tell her.
I mean,
and I said, well, why can't I tell her?
I'm not
she's
sure.
fantastic?
I'm not sure what the rules are around this anymore.
I'm sick of it. I don't care. I'm going to break the rules, Philip. I
Well,
don't care because
just
if
be
someone
careful.
looks good,
Just-
I mean,
just be
you've said to me sometimes I had my hair cut, and you said, you look good today.
Well, that's
and
because
I'm not
you
gonna-
looked so terrible the day before. I'm just trying to get you.
But
I'm
you
just
know
trying
what?
to give you encouragement.
I didn't go to the solicitors about that. So listen, I'm
It's coming.
I'm being
It's
unfairly.
coming. What's next up?
Okay, let's move on to Lahona Street in Bentley East, Philip, which was sold. Oh no, the price undisclosed, but
Shout
the
out to
vendor,
the owner of that, who's the
shout out to
most
the
beautiful
vendor,
woman.
and of course she is a beautiful woman,
Lovely in every way.
and her late husband
Yep.
was a magnificent fellow. I just want to remember him and just say thank you for the opportunity of representing you, Philip. 71B Alma Road.
Yes.
I was on Saturday morning. I was ready to go to the auction. I had my suit on and everything. I did go to work, but not to that auction because Daniel, lo and behold, he sold it for $1,130,000, which sits right in the middle of
Excellent.
our range.
Good result.
So well done, and thank you to the vendors of that who have been wonderful supporters of our company, Philip, and we congratulate them on their sale. Newham Grove. Well, your last auction for the year, Philip, was in Newham Grove. Which we had some great delight in doing in Ormond.
We did. Thank you for coming.
It was my
Yep.
pleasure to be there, and
Yep.
it was part of an estate, and it was an interesting situation. Same vendor had been there for, I don't know,
50 odd years, I
I
think.
think it might have been even 70 years or some crazy amount of time. Anyway, well done on the sale and to the purchasers. We had 3 bidders competing for that property that Philip it went up, sold for $1,350 within our range. Philip, I had some fun on Sunday morning at Leeburn Avenue. We had who I'd like to call our 9th auctioneer in Ralph Salter, who we do a lot of work with, who was a friend of the vendors who came along and auctioned that. 2 properties there in Leeburn Avenue, Philip. The back one, interesting auction because the back auction was this townhouse, lovely townhouse, and for the whole time it's been open, there hasn't been any noise. But the day of the auction, there was someone bouncing on a trampoline,
Yep.
and like the whole time through the auction, and someone decided to grace us with some incredible loud music. So that was fun and games. But Unit 1 at 27 Leeburn Avenue actually sold to the person who missed number 2, which is quite
kind
extraordinary,
of bizarre, isn't it? Almost $1 million more. I'll take this.
Yeah.
I didn't get that, so I'll take
just bid
this.
this one for $1 million more. Anyway,
Go figure.
So there you go, and that was interesting. And Philip, a property we didn't sell, but I think is a great buying opportunity, is 1 at 340 Carlisle Street, Balaclava, which can be bought somewhere. We think around or just in the very low 500. So that's a little bit of a wrap of what's been happening and what's going on. We have had a very busy week. There's been a number of sales off market, and there will be sales between now and even when our auctions reopen, which is going to be on the 17th of February.
Viewers, we've got a lot of things online, so go to your favourite portal, whether it be GaryPearandassociates.com or realestate.com or domain.com. Go to your favourite portal, scan the listings, because our team are around. We work 24/7, 365. Even when we're on holidays, we'll take the call, we'll take the email, we'll refer you to somebody else. But there is a lot of activity between literally this Friday, when things do grind to a halt, and the 1st of February, where things start to pick up again. Lots of activity. If you see something online, please give us a call, send us an email. We'll make your dreams a reality sometimes over the end of 23 or the start of 24.
Indeed we will. And Phil, our first edition will be on the second week, I think, of February. Predictions for 2024. And the year in summary, very quickly, and then predictions, because I'll
give you my quick take. 23, bit of a grueling year, Gary.
First half of the year was horrible.
So
let's admit it.
Second half was much better.
Yeah.
In summary, 2023, grueling year. Prices essentially just plateaued. Went up a little bit, went down a little bit, but plateaued. It was a hard year. 2024, I think that there is going to be... So here's my prediction for 2024. 2024 is the calm before the positive storm. 2024, anybody that buys in 2024 will set them up for what I believe will be a massive boom in 2025. I'm just so clear that, and wait for this, I'm so clear 2025 is going to be huge, that if you get in and buy in 2024, you're setting yourself up brilliantly.
Well, this is episode number, I don't know, 500 and something. Anyway, you can keep this one in the can, because we'll bring it back, and we'll either laugh at you and say how ridiculously wrong you were, or we'll pat you on the back and say you're right.
At the end of 2025, viewers will look at 2025, come back to this edition and say, I always knew he was smart, but I didn't realise he was a prophet.
A genius.
A prophet.
Profit. I'd like to make a profit, let alone see a profit. But got to say, Phil, that when my predictions and the year going back was very, very. And when I say it was horrible the first 6 months, it wasn't necessarily horrible for everyone that sold or bought. Just the volume. No, well, I wasn't happy because
stressed
things were
and horrible.
I wasn't. Yeah, maybe I was.
Yeah, you were.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no,
thank you. I'll be better. It's okay.
An apology, a public apology.
I came good at the end, but the first 6 months the volume was down, so that was very difficult, very stressful for a lot of our sales agents. And some of the stuff was sluggish, the clearance rate. But then the second half of the year, Phil, was I think it was positive. Some things, you talked about prices plateauing, but we saw some properties, Philip, sell for as much as they ever did.
Yes.
Very scarce at the top end.
Yes.
Not a lot of top end sales that went through in the prestige end of the market, but those that did sold very well. I'm very happy to say. Apartments, good ones, fought back, Philip. Villas were strong. Townhouses. Remember, we had like a week where nothing happened, and then they all got sold.
My prediction is, if you keep talking, the property market will definitely have boomed by the end of this
conversation. That's what I'm hoping. Next year, Phil, I think we're going to see. I can tell you one thing that people don't know. There is some beautiful properties coming on the market in February and March. So for those of you that are wondering and curious and worried, there is some great listings. And that's going to set the theme for what I think will be a positive and very good year, Philip. So I think interest rates are going to settle out, maybe even come back. So I think that's going to get nailed. There's going to be some immigration, and I think prices are going to be strong. They'll be firmed up, maybe even grow, and won't wait till 2025. That's my thoughts.
All right, so we've covered all the bases.
Yeah,
so
covered everything.
Essentially, if only one of us is right, Gary Peer was right.
Yes.
Lovely,
exactly right.
lovely. Gary, it's been a great pleasure. It's been a great pleasure hosting GPTV with you across the year. Again, I can't remember what year number we're up to. Well, we started in 86, so that's 14 plus 23 is 37 years. 37 years of working with you. It only gets better, Gary.
Oh, thank you. And
that's
likewise.
because it came off such a low base.
It did, didn't it? Yeah,
but
really,
it's been a beautiful journey. So I'd like to end the year by saying not only thank you to you and our incredible team and our production people that have put it all together. Bring it in. Bring it in.
Isn't that lovely? Thank you. Loves you.
May we continue to do it well. May we continue to grow together. May we continue to have fun. May we continue to bring great results for our incredible clients, which is you that are watching this show. Thank you for making us who we are. Without you, we have nothing. So thank you, and have a safe and wonderful merry time, because I can't say Merry Christmas.
No, you can't. Thanks so much for your support, for viewing through the year. We look forward to bringing you all the banter on GPTV next year. In the meantime, have a great break, a safe break, a healthy break, and we look forward to seeing you in 2024.